There's a lot of shows I'm enjoying to start the summer 2024 season, but I think Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian might end up being the best rom-com. I've read the first couple light novels, and it seems pretty solid so far. So I just want to talk about it a little bit. The main premise is that Alya is half Japanese, half Russian, and Masachike sits next to her in class and had a childhood friend that he was in love with who was Russian. So he learned a little bit of it, and he can actually understand what she says in Russian, but she doesn't know that. So obviously she's got a bit of a tsundere thing going, or tsundere, or however you say it. She kind of bitches at him in Japanese, but then will say stuff in Russian like, "You're a cutie though," or "Please pay attention to me." And she doesn't know that he understands. So he can't react because he's like, well, at this point, it's been over a year. So it'd be super embarrassing if she knew that I understood all that stuff. Obviously, it's a pretty good premise. But I think what actually makes the show good is the character work. I'll try not to spoil anything since I've read ahead. No promises. Essentially, she's always been kind of a perfectionist and loner and like a bit of a hard ass. And you haven't found out his background on the show yet, but he's a slacker. So he kind of just cruising. Even in the first scene, he was up late watching anime, so he's dozing off in class and not paying attention. So he's always kind of had just a couple close friends to talk about nerd shit with and then messed around in school. And he's close to his sister, which you find out in episode 2. I'll keep it vague so I don't spoil anything. But I like their dynamic because as the story goes on, you see more of how alone she really has been because she's pretty standoffish. She's very competitive, which leads to a lot of pretty amusing situations. And he's got super low self-esteem. When you find out more about his background, you kind of understand why. And because he has this low self-esteem, he kind of ignores the things that she says in Russian and just dismisses it kind of like in denial that she's maybe just from a different culture, or maybe that's just her way of being like a little bit trolly and having fun because she's not so blunt speaking in Japanese or with her personality in general. And it seems to me like the arc that is going to happen, because as of now, at least, this does seem like one of those ones where they both like each other, but are both kind of in denial. So I don't think there'll be too much drama, although I think there might be down the road because of the childhood friend thing, because he still doesn't know who it is. But it seems to me like his arc is going to be, he needs to start putting more effort in and actually work on himself and take care of himself. And she's going to be the impetus for that. And then she needs to be able to rely on others and kind of open up and not be so closed off and such a perfectionist. And he's going to be the one who helps her do that. That's not a spoiler. That's just me guessing. But I think that's where it's heading in the long term. His sister is probably my favorite character. She's just always trolling. And she puts on this super stiff, very kind of professional demeanor at school because she's on the student council and all that. But then in reality, she's a big nerd. Like in the scene that I just skipped, she was reading a manga and talking about Wincest. So his sister puts him in a bunch of funny positions, mainly because she's a troll. Like this one where Alya's eating this food, it's way too spicy for her, but she's too competitive to let it go. It's just her personality, but there's also the aspect of she seems to realize where their relationship is headed. So she enjoys getting laughs out of it, being the sister. And you find out more later about why she is the way that she is at school. And that's also tied to his background and why he is the way that he is. Obviously, it's hard for me to say too much without spoiling things. So when you combine the sister's kind of trolly behavior along with Alya's competitive nature, because she doesn't know that they're related, you get some pretty amusing situations like in episode 2 where she's trying on all the clothes. And the show does a really good job of giving her like stupid face when she's really uncomfortable. It's definitely a funny show. And I think it'll probably be the best rom-com of the season, like I said, because of the character work primarily. Simple but good premise. It doesn't seem like it's going to be some big harem thing, which is definitely a personal preference for me. I think the harem thing can be done right, but usually isn't. With there only being 2 episodes out and me trying to not give spoilers, I don't really want to go on too long because I have to be so vague. From what I've seen at least, I think it'll probably be the best rom-com this season. So give it a shot. If you've seen it, just comment, let me know what you think. I try to respond to all the comments that aren't just insults. If you're still here, like and subscribe and all that. Thanks. See ya.